Hey guys, today we're going to have a discussion on the ATQ short shifter for the 2010 and 2016 Genesis Coupe. I know we've heard rumors about our shifters rusting, and last time I checked my shifter, it looked like I had a little bit of surface rust on the cap of my shifter. So today I'm going to take a look at it, we're going to see how bad it is, and kind of give you guys a demonstration on how to take apart the 2010 to 12 Genesis Coupe shifter bezel. So I'm going to start off with explaining my setup on my 2011 3.8 Genesis Coupe. I've got the ATQ powder coated round shift knob, the ATQ suede shift boot, and the ATQ short shifter. In a previous video I had mentioned that my shifter had a slight bit of surface rust on it and mentioned that it wasn't a big deal. So generally when I looked at the shifter, I would just take the knob off, look underneath the boot, and take a quick glance at it. Today I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble the 2010 to 12 shifter bezel, and we're going to take a look at the shifter and see the condition of my short shifter. The shifter's been on my car for about 100,000 kilometers, so tried, tested, and true, right guys? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand on the shift knob, just like I would when I'm driving. I'm going to shift through the gears. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and reverse. As you can tell, I'm not knuckle smashing. So when you buy an aftermarket shift knob, your best bet is to make sure the threads aren't too deep, and you can kind of adjust how low and high your shift knob is depending on how deeply threaded it is. So now I'm going to take this apart and show you guys how to disassemble the bezel. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the clip off the back of the shift boot. I'm going to pull it down. As you can tell, the ATQ shift knob also has the factory boot retainer, which makes it all one piece. And this is great because you don't have the vibrations or the rattles and all that other crap that you have with the factory shift knob. So here I'm going to unthread it. There, now it's off. So you're going to take your fingers and you can stick your fingers into the back part of the bezel here, and you're going to pop the bezel up and pull out. Then I'm going to take apart the heated seat clips and take these off. So now it's out of the way. I'm going to have my cameraman zoom into the shifter. We're going to see the condition of my ATQ short shifter. So taking a look at this shifter, I actually don't really have any rust on it. It looks like it was just dirt on top of the cap. So that kind of debunks that. Maybe I take better care of my car than others do. I'm not really sure, but I'm happy to see that it's not rusted, which is great. So now I'm going to get to putting this back together. So first thing you do is you're going to take the heated seat clips and you're going to reattach them. Then you're going to take the bezel and you're going to stick it in front first, and then you're going to push down on the rear. And now she's back in. You take your shift knob, you're going to thread it back on. There, she's back in. I'm going to reinstall the clip on the boot. Fix the Velcro here on the suede boot, and she's all back together. I'm going to go back to first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and reverse. So as you can see, shifter works great. I love it. I've had it on my car for 100,000 kilometers, and honestly, I would never go back to stock even if you paid me. So now I'm going to do a comparison between the factory shifters on the Genesis Coupe from 2010 to 2016, compare that to the competition, and then compare the competition's short shifters to the ATQ short shifter. So the first shifter I'm going to talk about is the 2010 Genesis Coupe factory shifter. As you can see on the factory shifter, we have bushings at the bottom that are used with the factory pin and clip. We also have an oval pivot ball. It's offset so the shifter sits closer to the driver, and it has a dampening system built in to absorb vibrations. The factory 2010 shifter also has a 10mm by 125 pitch thread. Now I'm going to get on to the 2014 and up factory shifter. It also maintains the same style of bushing at the bottom, but they revised it. These are a pain in the ass to get in and out of the car. The throw is also a lot longer than the 2010, which is unfortunate that Hyundai did this, but it maintained the oval pivot ball, the same dampening system, it's just a little bit bigger, and it has a press fit fork style knob that goes on this shifter. So the 2013 still maintains a 10mm by 125 pitch thread. The 2014 and up, when you upgrade, you have to buy a shift knob that has that thread pattern on it. So now I'm going to compare these to the competition's short shifters. So this is the typical aftermarket short shifter for the Genesis Coupe. Pretty much every company makes them the same way. You have ball bearings at the base, which are noisy, which is unfortunate. you have a round pivot ball, which doesn't fit the cullet correctly and causes damage to your cullet. And you have no dampening system and a 10mm by 125 pitch thread. So at least they kept the thread, they did something right. So, and, okay, I gotta show you guys this. This is the sound that you're hearing when you have these shifters on your car, when you're cruising or shifting gears. I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it's noisy, which is no good. Now we're going to talk about the ATQ short shifter. The ATQ short shifter, we kept the OEM style bushings at the base of the shifter, which you reuse the factory pin and linkage. We used a oval pivot, just like the factory, which is what it's intended for, to fit the cullet properly. We have a dampening system built in, and we maintain the 10mm by 125 pitch thread. So this pretty much sums it up to kind of explain to you guys the comparison of the factory shifter, kind of gives you guys an idea of what we did with the ATQ short shifter, and essentially what the competition did and what we don't like about it and why it doesn't work. Thanks for checking out a video on the comparison of the stock shifter for the 2010 and 2016 Genesis Coupe with the comparison to the aftermarket short shifters on the market compared to the ATQ short shifter. We'll see you next time on our next video to do with our ATQ rear shifter bushing.